Hello, friends, and welcome back. This is the Wake Up and Dream podcast. I am here with Lisa and Kelly, and we are really excited to dig into a quote today that I feel like is going to hit a little hard with some people. When I just read this quote right before recording, I feel like there's just a lot here to unpack. So the quote is, I wonder how much of what weighs me down is not mine to carry. And I think this is a very common thing for women and moms in particular, to just kind of have them, to get weighed down by all of the things around them and the people that they feel responsible for, and all of the things. I actually want to start off our discussion with our lovely Lisa to kick us off with this one, though.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. When you read this quote, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many memories and experiences that I think now looking back, I think to myself, was it mine to carry? Was it mine to carry? So, this quote, I wonder how much that weighs me down is not mine to carry. And immediately I was drawn back to 9 years ago and cancer. Breast cancer came out of nowhere. Um, I was I was the strong one, right? I was the strong one that physically, maybe I wasn't in the best of shape, so to speak. I wasn't the prize athlete, but was I feeling good, looking good? Sure, all of that was happening, but I put on the face, and I was the strong one in everyone's eyes. And inside, I was carrying a lot of stress. And I thought, honestly, in that journey, I don't know about you guys, but we all have years of our lives that you're like, oh my gosh, that was like the year from hell is what we call
Oh, yeah.
2007. Is the marriage going to survive? Am I going to see the end of that? Well, that was like 5 years prior to my cancer diagnosis, was this year from hell. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. It was just a lot of stress. My husband was trying to pay for some extra bills. We were living on one income. Um, he was working round the clock, taking overtime. He was, played out on all levels, and that was directly impacting our house. And I felt like I needed to, you know, convince him that my role of being home was still worthy. I wasn't bringing any money. So that was the stress right there, because I was watching him do all of this, yet feeling helpless, yet knowing that we had agreed that having me home was important. So it was this I can't win type of feeling. Um, and and so much of that stress, I think, was chronic. It just it never ended. It was like year in and year out for a couple of years, to get out of this financial hole that we had found ourselves in. It was very stressful. And now looking back at it, I feel like I have a better awareness to what is mine and what is not mine, because I'm a people pleaser. I'm a Enneagram 2. So I say I'm a recovering people pleaser, in the fact that I now am realizing, you know what? That's not my deal. Everybody has their luggage, their baggage, as we call it, that they bring into any relationship. And sometimes we as women, I think, feel like we can fix things, right? We can fix them. I'm going to do this. Maybe if I did this better, maybe if I approached this. And And I did that for years and years and years thinking, "Well, if I just was better, if I just did this," or, "Oh my gosh, maybe if I, made sure that the house was all clean every single time that hubby came home, he would be less stressed and maybe it would help things." And if there was dishes in the sink and he mentioned it, I, of course, went, my gosh, I failed. Like, it was all on me thinking if I only, I never felt good enough, right? It's that chronic noise of just try harder, Lisa. Just keep doing it. And now looking back, I'm like, you know what? A lot of those things that I did and took responsibility for weren't mine to carry. I was actually enabling other people to not step up and take responsibility, if I'm totally honest.
It's interesting that when you're looking back at that period of time, this makes so much sense. But when you're living it, you're
Right.
really just trying to be the peacemaker, or to be the a two is a helper, right? The helper.
Yep.
So you're really just trying to, because with Kelly and I being in nines as well, I feel like there's a little bit of crossover with that, where you just want everybody to be happy, and it looking back and reflecting on moments of time like that, it's very apparent that, you're, well, not very, but it can be apparent that I was taking responsibility for something that really was not my responsibility to take. But when you're living it, it's such a hard thing to compartmentalize and to be aware of and recognize, and kind of move on from. I don't know if
Ex-
there's.
yeah, exactly. And I think, pulling away, joining a coaching program, surrounding yourself with women that are wanting to really, become more aware of thinking, beliefs, habits. That's the community that I think I started to really wake up, right? You wake up to, is it selfish for me to want to go out with my girlfriends every now and then? Like I would beat myself up about that. Like I should, oh, I shouldn't be spending money because we weren't making any, I wasn't contributing to, all of that spins. And so I wouldn't even ask, right? I mean, think of doing something for me, even to, go to the store and find this, clearance rack top, and I'd be like, "No, I can't do it. I can't do it." Because, I'm not contributing to the household income and we're already, yada yada yada. But there's a certain place in that you go, it's okay. It's okay to do something nice for you and not carry the guilt of it, you know?
I was just actually editing the episode from Brianna, and she said that twos can never do enough for themselves. Is that what she said?
Yeah, that's what she
So I
said.
feel like that is just you, Lisa. Like
That's
that
just
encompasses exactly what you're saying right
crazy.
now. So
Yeah, for
yeah, get
sure.
that top and do things for yourself for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and
And
Lisa, you were saying like how we all joined our business coaching community, and surrounding yourself with women who, not that we need help, but we just need guidance to start to live the life that we were always meant to live, and not carry those burdens, and to want more for ourselves and to dream bigger than we ever have before. It was funny when you said that, it kind of triggered me about my infertility journey. Like, I wonder 7, 8 years ago if my journey would have looked different, if I would have known what I know now about, the confidence and being more positive and, prayer and all the things, by surrounding yourself with positive people who also want more. We talk about that, like waking up and dreaming and making it happen. I just feel like we get in a rut especially if we had the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom, we do have those responsibilities, but then we have that guilt that weighs us down. But it's really, we're putting it on ourselves to feel and act like that because we're not bringing home the paycheck. I feel like that there's not actual dollar signs growing because we're staying home with our kids, and that's a choice.
Right.
So it's like surrounding yourself with like-minded women who want the same, or doing that self-development, self-growth with reading, or um, like joining a book club, or listening to podcasts that inspire you to really start going in a healthy direction. So yeah, it was funny that you pointed that out about that part of it, because it was really, I wonder how, I don't know if I would be pregnant necessarily,
Mm.
but I don't know if I would have gone into the depression that I was, because I was letting so much weigh me down. Being a 9, Sarah and I are 9s, we're the peacemaker, and I don't want to burden anybody else with my emotions and how I'm feeling. But I wonder if I knew that it was okay, or what I needed in a healthy journey of infertility, and what to ask people for, I wouldn't have felt as lonely as I did.
I am going to switch gears a little bit on this quote, because as you guys were talking, I'm just thinking about how this applies in my like current life, and how I am actually applying what I know, and the learnings that I've had to getting past this concept. And I'm gonna be kind of cryptic, because I don't want to like necessarily bring up different people in my life. But um, I feel like, and I don't know if this is a me thing, maybe it's a 9 thing, maybe it's a women thing, I don't know what it is, but there are certain situations that I encounter with different family members or different friends who are very close to me, and I want to help them. And I want to kind of show them the way. I want to like hold their hand and be like, this is what you need to do. But then sometimes, and I offer advice. I offer my advice to friends when they ask, and I feel like I'm always an ear to listen. But sometimes, and oftentimes, they don't necessarily take the advice that I offer, or they don't really know what to do with it, and it kind of weighs on me, because I'm watching from this point where I'm like, "Ah, I know that you can get through this by doing X, Y, Z, or whatever it is," but then they're not taking the action to do it, and even that kind of weighs on me as well. And it's like, I want to be able to guide them a little bit better. How else can I phrase this so that they'll actually take that action and help themselves? But at a certain point, like, it's their responsibility to make changes in their life. And I can't let that weigh me down. And I feel like that comes up a lot even today. There's not like a specific thing, but just I feel like that comes up so much. And I wish that there was more that I can do to help those around me.
Yeah. And Sarah, you nailed it in the fact that when we offer, and then we almost feel bad when, they don't take our advice or apply it, that's not our responsibility. Like, that's just not our responsibility. But
I know, and it's a good reminder, but it's like people that you care so much about that you want to take responsibility, but you cannot. It's their responsibility. It's like
right,
something I have to kind of repeat in my head a bit, like, "Okay, you're offering what you can offer. That is all you
right,
have."
right. And I'll take it a spin farther, because I think that we women feel like we're helping when we're offering, and we're like, yeah, do this, try this. This really helped me. And yes, to a degree that's helpful, but it verges, it's like almost crossing the line of enabling them not to take responsibility. And especially if we walk away from the conversation going, "Oh, I wish I could have done something better," or like, what else could I do?" Like, if we're carrying it at the end of the conversation, and we haven't fully released it back to them, and we're still kind of mulling over how we're involved in whatever whatever situation they found themselves in, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. And the biggest awareness for me, like the biggest relationship awareness is my marriage. And the tweak, and it literally has been a little bit of a tweak in my awareness, is the phrase, the verse in the Bible that says, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, we focus so heavily on love your neighbor, right? We don't even remember that there's like three more words or two more words after that. Like we're all about, okay, we got to give to this person and help this person and listen and counsel this person. That's loving your neighbor, right? Loving your friends and your people, that your neighbors in your house, your immediate family members, your extended family. That's loving, and that's outward. But the end of that verse says, as yourself. And I'm like, this is the awareness piece that literally in the last 6 months has been life changing for me, because it's given me permission to put myself in there. I
That's
wasn't in.
that is like crazy, Lisa. Because I don't know too much about the Bible, or like I'm a very bad Catholic, but
Like, it's all good.
but I know that verse, and it's
Hmm.
something that you see it on like bags in the store, like it's everywhere. But
Hmm.
the fact that you're bringing up that second piece, and it hasn't really like clicked in my head exactly what that means, that's like you're like blowing my mind right now. Can you tell by the look on my face? Like
Yes, yes.
blowing my mind with that. And I love that
Uh-huh.
you pointed that out. That's crazy.
Right? And to think about it, like, I always pictured it was, love God and love people. Like you hear that too. Love God, love people. But in between there, we can't really love people until we really love ourselves. And I've always thought, well, I love myself. Like I don't have a self-esteem issue, or, I don't sit around beating up myself all the time, mentally, emotionally, all that. So I always thought, check, check, I got that. But I changed the word love to honor. And I've been thinking, how are you honoring yourself, Lisa? Like when I am bending over backwards and doing all the things instead of asking for help, delegating responsibility, all of that in my household or in my direct sales business, thinking, oh, I've got to do everything because I'm the leader. Is that honoring myself? Because
Ooh, that is
that's.
so good. That is so good because that weighs you down when
Mhm.
you're not honoring yourself and putting that all on you to make it all happen, to make it perfect, make sure your team is under control, make sure your family has this and your in-laws have that and these friends have this, and it just becomes too much. And when you do kind of change your perspective to honor and love yourself first, then yes, that doesn't mean go buy a new house and two new BMWs and on yourself with a spa day every single week, but it is just doing that self-care that's necessary to really be the person that the people around you need to be, right? Like that's why I feel like in my into my infertility journey, like I was missing out on being that amazing mom that Jace needed me to be because I was so worried and stressed and in deep turmoil with baby number two that I was just, that was a weight that I did not want to carry anymore. So yeah, oh my gosh, I love that. Sarah, I'm just like you, just like, whoa, I never thought about that with that verse to take that to the next level. Cause you're right, Lisa, we totally forget about as yours, love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. Like that's what we should all be living by for sure.
And it's really true, because like I have put this into practice, because I'm like, you know what? So I'm just going to be really transparent. So I am a leader in a direct sales company. And sometimes when I'm not feeling fulfilled in my relationship with my hubby, love him to pieces, right? I my habit that I'm like now aware of is that I ignore, like I almost like shut him out and go to my happy place where I have people that love me, people that need me, people that respect and love what I am pouring into them. So I get all of um my feel goods, right? All of my affirmations of me as a human from over here with my team. But being in Julie's program, it's brought me to, but is that honoring? Like, is that really what I want? I don't want to all of a sudden just cut that off and find my happiness outside of that. And so my journey is really becoming more vocal about what I need, um, more vocal with him about the value that my business brings to our family. Um, for him to understand that this is like he can't just interrupt any old time kind of thing. I'm not available just because I'm working from home doesn't mean I'm not working. Little things that
You're
I'm
honoring yourself. You
yes,
recognize that gap and you are taking those steps to honor yourself. And that's
yes.
awesome. That's incredible.
And the thing about it is because I'm stepping up and I thought that if I said it, I had fear that, it would get worse or he'd be mad at me or whatever it would be. But when I am actually stepping up and honoring myself, um, having respect for myself, my business, my needs, my desires, like literally putting that out there going, yeah, it's okay to have desires. It's okay to have needs. It's okay. In fact, it's healthy, right? Because I'm honoring myself. And the beautiful thing is, I no longer feel like I have to put up this is my happy spot over here and you're over here. It's now morphed into me out of that respect that now have for myself, my business, my needs, my desires, honoring that. Um, he's pivoted and he is loving it. He's like, oh my gosh.
That is so cool, Lisa, because I just feel like our listeners need to recognize too, like the things that are changing for you, Lisa, are not because you're looking for outside people to change. Oh, as soon as my mom does this, as soon as my friends start to change and see me this way, as soon as my business partners, do X, Y, and Z, as soon as my husband changes, as soon as my kids get out of college, things will be better. That will never be the case. And for you to say, like, doing the inner work and honoring yourself, that's what's going to bring you the happiness and the fulfillment, because you will know who you are, true to yourself, and everyone else won't be weighing you down because you're not putting those burdens of them and their baggage and their background and their turmoil that they've gone through, because a lot of that stuff, the negative stuff that we hear and feel from people, is really just from the trauma that they've gone through in the past and how they handle hard issues.
It's their paradigm, right?
Yeah, that's where I was
Exactly.
headed, Sarah. Yeah, so you can't put that weight on yourself, but to find your true you and who you are and what you believe in is so, so important.
Guys, can
Yeah.
I just say that I absolutely loved this chat. And for our listeners, like we don't really plan these things out. So we just like hop on and start recording. We say that the quote and we just get inspired and start sharing and speaking. And I feel like this quote, it spoke to each of us. But it kind of morphed within this conversation that we're having here. And it's just really, really awesome. So thank you for sharing all of that. I've just loved this conversation.
I was feeling the same way, because I think it's an awareness piece, right? People are walking around unaware that it's okay to honor yourself. It's okay to say, as you're leaving a conversation, where you thought you were offering and wanting to help, it's okay to actually vocalize inside, I did what I could. I'm releasing the results. That's not mine to carry.
That is summing everything up perfectly, Lisa. Right? Like mic drop.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So if you resonated with this, yeah, goosebumps all over. Because this is where life truly begins. In my opinion, like my life, this awakening, this awareness to honoring myself, to giving myself permission to put myself on the needs list, so to speak, like, it's okay. Put yourself out there and say, yeah, I have needs. I can't do this on my own. It's okay. In fact, your vulnerability is going to allow others to step up and take the responsibility that they need to. So definitely has been, the cool thing about these podcasts is we're going to look back a year, 2 years, 3 years, and like replay this conversation and go, oh yeah, I remember that, and how different we are, and even more of the women that God has created us to be as we move forward and evolve and allow ourselves to grow and to love and honor ourselves. So if you love this, we would love to connect with you. That's what our heartbeat is. We want to build up other women that resonate with our message, that want to be challenged and encouraged and surrounded by women that are all about evolving, working on their inner self. So reach out. You can follow us on Instagram at Wake Up and Dream Podcast, as well as connect with all of us individually. And that's all in the show notes. We want to thank you for listening today, and be sure to tune in every Thursday. We look forward to connecting. Thanks so much. Till next time.